Before you upload your next video, I want you to improve these 3 things by just 1%. Your camera or your shot, your lighting, and your mic. If you do this every single week, you'll look back and you won't even recognize the videos that you've made just a month ago. This is what we call compound improvements. 1% every single week. 1% becomes 2, becomes 4, becomes 6, becomes 8, etc., etc. And all of a sudden, your videos are amazing. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what you can do with in those 3 areas to improve by 1%. Let's start with your sound. For those of you that have followed the YouTube Success podcast for a while, hey, it's Matt, by the way. You'll probably know that the sound has not been amazing throughout this podcast. We had some problems with editing and various different things. But I'm hoping that you can hear that the sound is better. I know it's not as good as when I'm in my podcast studio. Oh, and by the way, we're launching a podcast studio in February in Leicester. So if you want to come and film with me for the day, we've got a product called Playlist for Profits. You'll film 13 episodes of your YouTube channel or your podcast, whatever you want to do. And we'll do that all in a day. And it's called Vlogcast Studios, and it's launching in Leicester in February. But if you've not got a podcast studio where you've got beautiful mics and all that kind of stuff, you can improve the sound on your videos. Like if you're using an iPhone or an Android phone or something like that, and you just using the onboard microphone, this is the microphone that comes with the device, you know, the mic that you're talking to. If you're using that onboard one, then, or integrated mic, then you just need to be as close as possible to it. A lot of the time, people want to get more in the shot, so they'll take a step back and get more in the shot. But if you're not using a mic like this DJI mic one that I've got, that came with the creator combo, the DJI Osmo Pocket as this creator combo, it comes with these mics. If you've not got a wireless mic like this, then the further you get away, the worse the sound's going to get. But if you've got a wireless one, you can walk around with it, right? So if you've not got one, just step closer to the mic. I know that means you're front and center, but you don't need to worry about that too much. What's important is that the users, the viewers, are getting a nice, clean, loud, deep audio. Right? People will forgive dodgy video, but they won't forgive dodgy audio. I've seen so many in my career as in video. I've seen so many beautiful things, like someone will say, "Oh, I just met, you know, Mr. Beast. I don't know, Mr. Beast," and you'll see, and they've got this really bad video of meeting them. It's shaky all over the place, and then they've used the onboard mic, so you can't really hear them because it's in a restaurant or something. Like, you can just improve these things a little bit at a time by just making these small improvements. And then if you're home, if you're recording like I am at home, make sure you're in the room with the softest echo, right? And if you've got hard floors or windows next to you or anything like that, make sure you're putting some cushions on the floor or carpet on the floor or a curtain up or something like that. Like, just like my curtains are open at the moment, I could close those and just allow the sound to be softened and not echoing off the walls, just by making some of these small improvements around me. Remember, nobody's seeing all this stuff in the shot. You just want to make sure the sound is as good as possible. So just consider that thing. Making these small changes really, really helps from a viewer's and a listener's perspective. And don't forget to turn anything off that hums or clicks or beeps. When I did the first take of this video, because I've done about 10 of them today for some reason, my laptop just buzzed. It went ding. You know, when you get an email, it dings at you. Make sure that you have a checklist. I think we've got a checklist somewhere. If I can find it, I'll put it in the show notes. But have a checklist of things like just to remember to turn off, because you can guarantee when you're in the middle of your filming, like I was, an email comes through, ding, there you go. And then you've got to repeat that line or do whatever it takes to get rid of that. So make sure you're away from that. You know, sometimes I'm filming in my office. I've got an office right above the kitchen in my house. And when the washer dryer is on, it starts spinning and I can hear it, you know. Actually, it's not so bad with these kind of mics. They don't really pick it up. But if I was using the onboard one, it would definitely pick up the sound from that kind of thing. So just hit the pause button if you can, if you've got one. And just say to people, right, I'm filming now. Please don't put on these annoying sounds. Don't put on this music and stuff whilst I'm filming. Even my teenage kids will stop putting music on if they know I'm filming a podcast episode. So make sure you're in a place where that can happen successfully. And then one thing, which is definitely a tip for me, is just to speak slower. I know in this entertainment world that we live in, there's often like boom, 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 boom. We've got to do things very, very quickly. But if you're like me, you speak fast anyway, especially when you're excited, just take the time to just slow down a little bit. I mean, often when I get this when I'm public speaking, my adrenaline's so high for public speaking. I'm really fast at the start. And then as I get into flow, I slow down. So if you know and you recognize that's the same for you when you're filming, then do something else for the first couple of minutes, or do take one, you know, shot one, just to slow yourself down, get in the rhythm, get in the flow. And flow is something that a lot of people in my world talk about as a nice, easy way to feel like you're in your genius zone, right? Just slow down a little bit, get into your genius. By the way, did you know we have a WhatsApp group that's specifically for the YouTube Success Podcast? The link is in the show notes. It's always in the show notes from now on. You can come and join us. It's a little community. There's a bunch of people in there already. Thank you so much for joining. And it's totally free. You can talk about the podcast. You can ask questions, ask YouTube-based questions. It's not coaching. I'm not there mentoring you or anything like that. But it's just a community for us, people that are listening to this podcast. So link is in the show notes. Join it. It's absolutely free. What about lighting then? What can we do to make these 1% improvements in lighting? For me, I've got a couple of options in my house. I've got a window to the right of me now. I kind of use that as a side light. I forgot my terminology. Your main light is your key light. I forgot what the second light is, right? But I use it as my side light. And I have something in front of me as my key light. So in this instance, I've got a ring light for my lighting, and that gives me a good, nice, soft amount of light around my face. It kind of removes all your shadows or your multiple chins, like it doesn't remove them all. And the bags under your eyes and that kind of thing. Like it really helps give you a lot of, in the makeup industry, they call it a beauty dish, right? And you'll see them when people are getting your nails done or the makeup done and that kind of thing. And they have them, it's because it removes all of your imperfections as much as possible. When you're 42 like I am, you can't really remove those imperfections anymore. And I don't use makeup, unfortunately. And you can experiment with this lighting. So whilst I've got the ring light in front of me, if I didn't have the ring light and I just had the window that was next to me, I would not have the camera with the light directly behind the window. I would just move it to the side slightly. And one of the best tips I got when I first started doing photography, I used to be a wedding photographer as well as a videographer. And one of the things, I went to this workshop, it was a brilliant guy called Andy, and we did this photography workshop. And one of the things he said to me, if you stood outside, he said, put your hand in like a, like high five, and then just move around with it. Like put your hand towards your face, high five, and move around with it and look at the lighting on your hand. And you can kind of see where the lighting is good. And he said, wherever the lighting is good, that's where your face needs to be. And I was like, oh, that's a magic way to do it. And what happened is when you're in an outside environment where the lighting is not consistent, using that little hand method made me realize where the shadows were all the time, because of course you can't see that on your face because your face is your face, you're looking out of it. But when you use a hand, you can do that, right? So you can do the same thing in your house. Of course, you've got the camera that's looking back of you, so you can kind of tell but I just want you to experiment with that a little bit. It's okay to have some shadow on one side of your face. Whilst I'm using a ring light and a beauty dish like this, it's not the be all and end all. You don't have to use that. This is just, I just know that this is going to be a good shot. But if I was in another location, I might like try and change it and have a bit of shadow. And you'll notice this in podcast episodes. The lighting isn't directly on the subject. You'll get some nice shadow and it creates that nice effect as well. So think about how you can change the lighting to give yourself the best chance of a good shot. And then another little tip on the lighting front is to separate yourself from the background. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll notice I've got another light behind me. I've got a plant behind me and I've got a light there that's on as well. If I go, Alexa, lights on, it turns the light off, and then I've just got the ring light. Alexa, lights on. Okay, and when I turn it back on again, it will add some kind of interest into my shot. Like I want some interest into my shot, but I don't want it to be the most interesting thing in the shot. There's got to be some separation between us, okay? People will achieve this with a hair light or something like that. But to be honest with you, I think when you're getting started, things like hair lights are probably another step. You know, when I said like buying an Osmo Pocket is a 10% improvement or something like that. Hair light is just another improvement that's a little bit more than just the standard lighting. So I'm going to say just try and add like some of these decorative lights, these backlights, to add some interest to the shot. Remember, we're just looking for 1% improvement. So just adding these 1% really help. Now let's think about the camera or the shot, for example, and think about how we can make some improvements. You can make some really, really simple improvements. Now, if I step too close to the camera like this, my chin is cut off, my hair is cut off. For those of you listening to the podcast, I'm right up close to the camera, right? All I've got to do is step back a little bit and suddenly you can see my full face. If the camera is too low, then I want to raise it up. I want the camera to be at eye level. I often do this in presenting. I'll show like 3 different shots and they'll be low, medium and high. and I'll ask people what the best shot is. Nobody ever really says the middle eye level shot, but actually when you're presenting with someone, when you're talking to somebody, when you're trying to build trust with somebody, you want to be at eye level. Eye level is a really nice place to be able to talk to people. So you don't want to be looking down at them. I call that a nostril view. That is looking down into the camera. You're looking down on the viewer. They feel like you're in a dominant position. You don't want to be like that. It feels sleazy. It feels icky. It feels like someone's talking down to you. You want to be at eye level. And then conversely, if you're looking up at somebody, you're in a submissive position. They're looking down on you. You don't want to be in that position if you're trying to build trust with people. So make sure you're at eye level, and it's a really simple thing to do. Whilst we're talking about that stuff, make sure you lock the camera in. There's nothing worse than a shaky shot. Now, I know lots of YouTubers and lots of people, if they're doing entertainment, the shaky shot is used in a specific way to provoke a couple of type of reactions. The first one is horror. Strangely enough, horror. If you ever watch a horror film, it's never like a smooth, beautiful cinematic shot, is it? It's always like hectic, frantic, shaky, running around. Like that's horror for you. That's the genre that shot makes you think about. And then the other one is action. You don't want someone watching your video and thinking, when's the next bit of action coming? Action movies, they're very fast paced, they're very frantic and all over the place. So when I see vloggers or I see YouTubers wandering around, yes, that wandering around is good as long as you've got some stability. The Osmo Pocket 3 that I'm using here has stability. So I can wander around with this and it still feels smooth and steady and all of that good stuff. But if you're using your mobile phone, even those with some software stability inside them, try and lock it down if you're talking face to camera like I am right now. You want to be steady. You don't want that franticness. You just want to be talking directly to camera. Yeah, you might add some B-roll. You might change the shot up just to add some interest to keep people watching, but you don't want that movement as much as possible, unless it's specifically part of your style. And then one thing I see people doing a lot, well, one thing that's really important is stop adjusting your shot. It's so easy to look back at yourself and think, oh, if I just changed it slightly here, if I just change it slightly there, then it will look better. But actually, I don't want you to do that. I want you to just pick a shot, set yourself up, and away you go. All right, that is this episode of the YouTube Success Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe, to follow, all of those good things. And of course, if you get the opportunity, don't forget to review it on the App Store or wherever you found it. Thanks so much. My name is Matt Hughes, King of Video, and I'll see you in the next YouTube Success Podcast. Bye-bye.